Good day and God bless everyone. I am Miss Pinindi Pitacora and I will be your English teacher for today. In everyday life, we encounter different conflicts, problems, or challenges. In order to find stability, we must find the best solutions. What do you think we need in order to resolve conflicts in different situations? What do you think we need in order to resolve conflicts in non-violent ways? That is why I am very much excited to unfold the learning we have for today. So, at this moment, I will let you watch a video clip first related to our discussion today. So please get your notebook and ballpen and take down the important ideas.
Created using Powtoon.
Now, let's answer these questions. Number 1. What is the video all about? Okay, very good. The video is all about the 6 types of literary conflicts. Number 2. What is a conflict? Okay, nice parts. In literature, a conflict is a struggle between the two opposing forces. Number 3. What are the two categories of conflict? Okay, thank you so much. The two categories of literary conflict are the internal and the external conflict. Okay, now let's have the last question. So, what are the 6 types of literary conflicts? Okay, we have number 1, character versus self or man versus self. Number 2, we have character versus character or man versus man. Number 3, we have character versus nature or man versus nature. Number 4, we have character versus supernatural or man versus supernatural. Number 5, we have character versus technology or man versus technology. And the last one, the number 6, we have the character versus society or man versus society. So I guess this matter is already familiar to you since it was already tackled in elementary years. And now, our topic for today is all about resolving conflicts in non-violent ways. Here are the intended learning outcomes of our lesson for today. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to discover the types of literary conflicts, define the meaning and purposes of each type of the conflicts in literature, identify the conflicts in different literary texts, examine how a conflict can be resolved in non-violent ways, and lastly, apply the concept of resolving literary conflicts in non-violent ways in dealing with different real-life situations. So, let's start our discussion proper for today. So, how to identify conflicts in literary texts? The most effective way to identify a conflict, first, is to write a conflict statement. So, what is a conflict statement? A conflict statement is a statement that briefly states what the main character wants and what is preventing him or her from attaining the desire to succeed. For example, Cinderella wanted to go to the ball, but her wicked stepmother won't let her go. So we have here the protagonist, which is the main character of the story who has the conflict or have to face the conflict, while the antagonist is the villain who go against the main character. It is who or what the protagonist is struggling with. In fact, it is not always bad and sometimes it is not a person. Conflicts are inevitable, no matter how we try to avoid making one or being in one. However, what we can do is to try as much as possible to do our best in dealing with tough situations. Then, we try to resolve them in peaceful and non-violent way. So, what do you think we need in order to find solutions in different situations? What do we need in order to resolve conflicts in non-violent ways? We have here the term resolution. Resolution is also known as denouement. It is part of the story's plot where the main problem is resolved or worked out. The resolution is the end of the story where you can tie up the final loose ends and bring your story to its happy or tragic ending. It occurs after the following action. So, a resolution can have a happy ending or a heartbreaking one. Here are some of the considerations in order to resolve conflicts in non-violent ways. The first one is to practice self-discipline, positive mindset, and patience no matter what it takes. Number 2 is to set goals and be diligent in coping with the mechanisms all throughout the process. Number 3, the capacity to empathize with the other person's viewpoint. Number 4 is to calm, non-defensive, and respectful reaction. Number 5, a readiness to accept and forgive and move past the conflict without holding resentments or anger. Number 6, the ability to seek compromise and avoid punishing or revenge. Number 7, a belief that facing conflict head-on is the best thing for the both sides. Meanwhile, it is so important to acquire the skills and attributes in resolving the conflicts in non-violent ways, in order to find peace and stability. Okay, now let's proceed with the activities. Okay, we have our first activity. The directions. I will state a scenario, and anyone should try to resolve the conflict using the considerations that we discussed earlier. Write your answers in a 1/2 sheet of paper. Number 1. A working student experienced sexual harassment from her boss. Number 2. A person has to decide whether to report a wallet found 100 pesos inside or to keep it himself since he can't afford the medicines that the doctor prescribes for his mother. Number 3. Your best friend has broken your trust by telling a secret of yours. Now, would it make a difference if you had already shared it with a few other people? Number 4. Your classmate wants to use the only computer in your room at the same time you do. You know that your classmate does not have a computer at home, but you do. Number 5. You are a high school teacher and have assigned an essay to the class. It is worth 30% of their 9 weeks grade. As you are grading the essays, you notice that the two papers are almost identical. When you question the students involved, both of them deny cheating and blame it on the other person. For our second activity, please get a 1/2 crosswise of a sheet of paper. Directions. Follow the instructions and answer what is being asked in each item. The first part. Read and analyze the following lines. Identify what types of conflict in each statement. Number 1. The ship sank. It made a sound like a monstrous metallic burp. Things bubbled at the surface and then vanished. So what do you think is the answer? Okay, very good. Man versus nature, or character versus nature. Number 2. A student lost his report because his laptop has run out of power. Okay, very good. Man versus technology, or character versus technology. Number 3. You are an idiot. Can you stay out of my sight? What do you think is the answer? Very good. Man versus man, or character versus character. Number 4. Utterly unprepared for his gesture, Binoy remained frozen, unable to respond. Back home, he repeatedly cursed himself for this minor lapse. What do you think is the answer? Okay, very good. Man versus self, or character versus self. Okay, let's proceed with the part 2. Match the situations in column A with the descriptions in column B. Write the letter of your answer in your paper. Number 1. A literary element which will face the struggle with the different opposing forces. Letter A, character. B, conflict. C, internal conflict. D, external conflict. A, character. Number 2. It is known as the struggle between the two opposing forces. Okay, very good. Letter B, conflict. Number 3. An issue between the character and the outside forces. Okay, very good. Letter D, external conflict. Number 4. An issue that a character faces within himself or herself. An issue that a character faces within himself or herself. What do you think is the answer? A, character. B, conflict. C, internal conflict. D, external conflict. All right, letter C, internal conflict. So let's proceed with the third part. Choose the best resolution for each conflict and write it in your paper. Number 1. Your area is getting flooded due to heavy rains. The water is getting higher. Letter A. You choose to play and swim outside because it's more fun. B. You chose to stay because you have been living there for 20 years. Letter C. You chose to evacuate and not to risk the life of your whole family. So what do you think is the answer? Okay, letter C. Number 2. Your classmate sends you a message and told you to have him a copy of your assignment. Letter A. You know it's not right to copy, so you sent him a harsh message saying he is dumped. B. You know it's not right to copy, so you sent him answers since he is your friend. C. You know it's not right to copy, so you try to guide him on what he can do so he can learn on his own. What do you think is the answer? Okay, very good. Letter C. Number 3. You can hardly sleep because your neighbor's dog keeps barking at night. A. Talk to your neighbor about your sleepless nights because of the dog's barking so they can do something about it. B. Say harsh things to the owner of the dogs. C. Throw stones at the dog so it will stop barking. So what do you think is the best answer? Okay, letter A. Number 4. You didn't pass the exam but your parents are waiting for you to come home and wanted to see the results. Again, you didn't pass the exam but your parents are waiting for you to come home and wanted to see the results. So, what do you think is the best answer? A. Hide the truth to your parents. B. Tell your parents the truth. C. Pay the teacher to let you pass the exam. So what do you think is the best answer? Okay, letter B. Okay, let's have the last part of our second activity for today. In 2 to 3 sentences, create an example of a conflict with its resolution that has not been stated from the discussions. Okay, time's up. Okay, class, please let's give a round of applause for ourselves. So, let's have the assessment 3. Get a 1/2 crosswise and ball pen. Identify whether the following statements are violent or non-violent resolution. Number 1. A bully friend teases the girl and suddenly she slapped him and walked away. Violent or non-violent? Okay, very good. Violent. Number 2. You only have 3 minutes remaining in the last item of your exam. When your cell phone suddenly shut down, you throw it to the wall. Is it violent or non-violent resolution? Okay, very good. Violent resolution. Number 3. Somebody calls you a name you hated the most. Number 3. Somebody calls you a name you hated the most. So you punch the person to his nose. Is it violent or non-violent resolution? Okay, very good. Violent. Number 4. Your friend has been talking about you behind your back. You called her attention and talked with her privately. So what do you think is the answer? Is it violent or non-violent resolution? Okay, very good. Non-violent. Number 5. Your ball pen got lost before your exam. So you shouted at your classmates demanding to know who took it. So what do you think is the answer? Violent or non-violent? Okay, very good. Violent. Alright. Thank you so much for the job well done, class. Now, let's do the firework clap. Okay, now, let's have the last and final activity for our lesson for today. First part. Write T if your answer is true and write F if your answer is false. Number 1. Internal conflict is a literary conflict where characters struggle with their own opposing desired beliefs. Number 1. Internal conflict is a literary conflict where characters struggle with their own opposing desired beliefs. What do you think is the answer? It is T or F? Okay, very good. T or true. Number 2. External conflict sets the character against something or beyond his control. Is it T or F? Okay, very good. Letter T. Number 3. Interior and exterior are the two categories of literary conflicts. Is it T or F? Okay, very good. F. Number 4. At the heart of every great story is a conflict. Is it T or F? Okay, letter T. Number 5. A thesis statement is a statement that briefly states what the main character wants and what is preventing him or her from attaining the desire. What do you think is the answer? T or F? Okay, very good. Letter F. Number 6. Internal conflict arises mental agony to specific character and develops a unique tension in a storyline. Is it T or F? Okay, nice points. Letter T. Number 7. Solution is a literary device characterized by a struggle between two opposing forces. Is it T or F? Okay, excellent. Letter F. Number 8. In the movie The Matrix, Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus struggle to free their society from the Matrix is an example of character versus society conflict. Is it T or F? Okay, very good. Letter T. Number 9. In the movie The Perfect Storm, the crew struggles against the ocean. Is an example of man versus nature conflict. In the movie The Perfect Storm, the crew struggles against the ocean. Is an example of man versus nature conflict. Is it T or F? Okay, spectacular. Letter T. Number 10. Understanding the core conflict is an important part in comprehending the work's overriding themes.
The answer is letter F.
Let's proceed with the second part of our last assessment for today. So identify whether the statement is conflict or resolution.
Number 1. Alonsina resented this reproach and they quarreled with Tungkong Langit. In his anger, he drives his wife away. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is resolution. Number 2. While Prince Bantugan was gone, the evil king plotted against the good prince. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is conflict. Number 3. The sun god shot her daughter Luna in the garden. The sea god imprisoned his son Mar in one of his sea caves. Is it resolution or conflict? The answer is resolution. Number 4. The father of Marine did not wish to sacrifice his daughter after the disaster. So, he gives her daughter, Marine, the freedom to choose her husband. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is resolution. Number 5. David suddenly became very interesting to us. He was no longer strange, although his accent was still rather funny to our ears. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is conflict. Number 6. Psyche disobeyed Cupid's order, his husband, not to attempt to look at his face. While he's asleep, he does it with lump and ends up accidentally burning him with hot oil. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is conflict. Number 7. After great battles and acts of heroism, the siege was completed and Ravana defeated. Sita was rescued. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is resolution. Number 8. Maria was afraid that maybe his father-in-law and Leon's family will not accept her as Leon's wife nor not liking her. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is conflict. Number 9. The war happened on the day of the wedding, and there Daragang Magayon was killed with a stray arrow, and when Panganuron is holding the weak body of the beloved, he was attacked from behind. Both of them were killed. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is resolution. And the last number, number 10. The hermit tells of the gold tree where the famed bird stays every night after singing 7 songs. Is it conflict or resolution? The answer is resolution. Alright, and finally, I will give you a homework. Please listen and write the task as your assignment. Write 3 life experiences where you encountered battling with the conflicts and how you resolved them. 5 sentences each number. Write your answers in a sheet of paper.
And that's all for today. Thank you so much. I hope that you have learned a lot of our topic for today. So, thank you and God bless everyone. See you in the next meeting.